Breaking news right now on the WHAS11 team, a story that has developed within the past hour. Several national reports say UK has zeroed in on their new basketball coach, with one report even saying a deal could be finalized by tonight. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us. I'm Doug Proffitt. The coach to replace John Calipari, according to the reports, is a former UK player who won the championship under Rick Pitino. Sports Director Ken Spencer is here to tell us all about this possible hire and a name that wasn't on, the first round of lists, maybe a second-tier name here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when John Calipari stepped away and went to Arkansas, I don't think anybody really knew what the list was outside of some of the big names like Scott Drew. It was the name that we kind of brought up first and foremost. He officially turned down the job this morning. UConn's Danny Hurley turned down the job this afternoon. And Mitch Barnhart zeroed in on former Wildcat and current BYU head coach Mark Pope. Of course, Pope played at Kentucky under Rick Pitino from 1994 to 96 and was a member of their 96 title team. Since 2019, Pope has been the head coach at BYU. Before then, he was the head coach at Utah Valley. In his 9 years as a head coach, Pope has a record of 187 and 108. Since being with the Cougars, he's taken two teams to the NCAA tournament. He has yet to win an NCAA tournament game. In 2017, Pope brought his Utah Valley team into Rupp Arena to face Kentucky. The Cats won that game by 10. Now, earlier in the day, Kentucky, like I said, was turned down by both Baylor's Scott Drew and UConn's Dan Hurley. Billy Donovan of the Chicago Bulls was thought to be the next candidate on the list, but Matt Norlander of CBS Sports reporting Kentucky did not aggressively pursue Donovan. For the night team, I'm Ken Spencer.
Okay, Kent, thank you very much. Again, a late developing story. We'll follow through the next 30 minutes, see what happens. New right now on the night team, we're also learning more about the proposed contract for Louisville Metro police officers. The new deal includes immediate raises and pay increases across the board for new and returning officers. And this comes as the department and the city continue to negotiate a consent decree with the U.S. Department of Justice. WHAS11 night team's Connor Steffen and photojournalist Elijah McKenzie are joining us live right now. And Connor, what did the process look like to finalize this new police deal?
Doug, we're going to lay that out here for you guys in just a moment. Now, prior to this proposal, you had a lengthy round of negotiations between the union representing Metro police officers and Metro government officials. They both signed off on this 4-year contract on Monday. That just leaves Metro Council to approve it. As Metro Council prepares to vote on a set of 2 Louisville FOP contracts.
I am excited about the direction that we're headed.
Metro Council President Marcus Winkler says it has potential to shift momentum in the right direction.
I think that making sure that we've got officers that are well compensated, that are well taken care of, but that also are held accountable when they do things incorrectly, I think is really important, and I think that's really the direction that we're moving.
The 120-plus pages between both collective bargaining agreements tackle a slew of issues, from working conditions to job benefits and police salaries.
Really, one of the main things is bumping up our levels of pay.
If both proposals pass Metro Council, all LMPD officers and sergeants will see an immediate 7% boost in pay. Another round of raises would go into effect in July, bringing starting officer pay to just over $60,000 a year.
We're competing against, not just cities in the region, but cities just here in Jefferson County. And I think that the proposal that we've got in front of us goes a long way in addressing that issue.
As of April 2nd, LMPD says the force is short 280 officers. Winkler says Louisville is competing for officers with departments in cities like Lexington and Covington, as well as right here in the county.
Going to St. Matthews, Shively, other areas, other police departments.
Bishop Dennis Lyons has long had his finger on the pulse of the community.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gospel in My Soul Radio.
He spoke about the FOP contracts during his radio show on 104.7 WLOU.
In the midst of the DOJ report, in the midst of all of the things that the police department has done in the community against our civil rights, we may also see it as, we're going to pay you for what you've done.
While he sees the upside in higher police pay, he wonders how the community will respond. Back at City Hall, Winkler says prioritizing pay, especially for experienced officers, helps prioritize public safety.
When you have your more experienced officers leaving, you have a less experienced force, and that certainly creates an opportunity for risk.
Metro Council will be holding a special meeting at 5 Monday evening. They're looking for the public to weigh in on these contracts. If you're interested in speaking, though, you do have to register online by 4 tomorrow, and of course that meeting will take place right here behind me at City Hall. We're live in downtown Louisville. Connor Steffen to WHAS 1119 on your side.
Connor, thank you. As part of our reporting on the story, we got a statement from Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg tonight saying in part, quote, these two collective bargaining agreements set forth a new standard to better support our first responders and the families across our city who depend on them. Right now, also new tonight, the Louisville Metro Council honoring the Louisville Fire Department and the other first responders for their heroic actions after that semi was left dangling from the 2nd Street Bridge over the Ohio River last month.
1, 2, 3. I'll take a couple.
All smiles tonight as we remember March 1st, crews were able to rescue a woman trapped in her semi after a 4-vehicle crash left her dangling over the river from the bridge. Tonight, council members thank them for their bravery and quick action.
We were all stunned to see a video of a semi-truck dangling over the 2nd Street Bridge. Local news agencies were rushing to the scene, and while many of us were glued in disbelief to our TV, the brave men and women behind us were just doing what they do, day in and day out.
The 2nd Street Bridge has been under repairs, closed down to traffic heading into Indiana ever since the accident. But crews are now finishing up those repairs and the bridge is set to reopen. Well, one more full closure of the bridge will be needed tomorrow. That's the new headline tonight. This will allow crews to repaint the roadway to open traffic back up to 4 lanes. WHAS 1119's Taylor Woods and photojournalist Aspen Hester talked to drivers tonight who are ready for the reopening.
Anticipation is growing among drivers who cross the 2nd Street Bridge often.
Hurry up.
I hope they get it done quick.
The 2nd Street Bridge has been undergoing repairs after a 4-vehicle crash left a semi dangling over the bridge on March 1st. Kentucky's Transportation Cabinet says the bridge will temporarily close Friday between 2:30 to 5 to restripe the roadway to its normal 4 lanes with 2 lanes each direction. But drivers like Robert Merce says the temporary 2-lane traffic has put a dent in his wallet.
Because it's just, it's bogging traffic up and it's trying to reroute people across the toll bridge, I feel like.
More toll fees. Definitely more toll fees.
Sean Robinson agrees. He uses the bridge every day. He's happy the bridge will eventually reopen with its normal flow of traffic.
And KYTC says the bridge could fully reopen in both directions as early as 5 p.m. on Friday if there are no weather delays.
So far, KYTC has removed the damaged sidewalk and replaced it using steel sidewalk beams. They've also replaced the pedestrian handrail and concrete walking surface while making utility repairs and paint touch-ups.
It shouldn't have took them, this long to get it together and fix the bridge.
Although it took some time to repair, Merce is grateful for the bridge to fully reopen again.
I'm kind of glad that they are actually, out doing, fixing it and making it safe if there is structural damage.
In Clarksville, Taylor Woods, WHAS 1119 on your side.
Now, if there are any weather delays or continued work on the 2nd Street Bridge, it could fully reopen as early as Saturday or Monday. But get this, it's going to be closed again and pretty quickly. Thunder over Louisville is next Saturday, and that means the bridge is always shut down on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the fireworks. Well, our coverage continues following that heated JCPS school board meeting last night. The board finally voting on a new plan for bus transportation next year with historic changes. Last night, the board voted to suspend bus transportation to all magnet and traditional schools, except for Central and Western high schools. The buses will keep running there. This means some students will no longer be able to travel to their choice schools. However, the school board said changes had to be made due to the bus driver shortage. And late today, John Stovall, who's the president of the JCPS Bus Union, gave us a statement on this decision. He said, in part, we know it was a hard decision and give props to Dr. Polio and the board for making the hard decision. But unless God, Christ, or Muhammad sends down 300 bus drivers to cover all of those runs, this is the best option. Again, the union supports the vote last night. However, the plan is still receiving pushback from the community, and that includes former JCPS principal Michelle Penix. She told us she's worried how neighborhood schools will handle an expected influx of kids and says the plan is an opportunity to improve those schools as kids leave the magnet programs.
And so now that we know those schools are going to be reduced, that they're not going to be as full as they have been before, where are those quality staff members who have the most experience, who have the greatest amount of education, where are they going to move to? And how can we set them up for success, not only in other places throughout the district, other schools that maybe haven't had the opportunity to have those type of staff members.
The pushback from the public didn't come without warning. A racial equity analysis completed by members of the community late last year said a cut to the magnet transportation will, quote, create more academic gaps.
His legacy will be the Bronco chase, and it will be the murder charges. Although he wasn't convicted, that's what O.J. Simpson will, to me, forever be remembered by.
And tonight, you probably know where you were the night police in Los Angeles had this slow speed chase of famed football player O.J. Simpson driving his white Bronco down the LA expressways. It was all carried live by the major networks in 1994. O.J. Simpson has died of cancer at the age of 76. The famed football champion was accused in 1994, but later acquitted in a double murder case that rocked the world. A beloved football hero in the 60s and 70s, he transitioned effortlessly to movie star, sports commentator, and TV pitchman. Then came the 94 killings of his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman. A jury acquitted him, but a civil case found him guilty and told him to pay up over $33 million. One of his former lawyers, Alan Dershowitz, reflected on the case after news of Simpson's passing.
Ultimately, it was the glove, when he was able to go in front of the jury and show them that the glove didn't fit, that led him to conclude, and he made the decision not to take the stand. In the civil case, he took the stand and was immediately found liable.
In the 2000s, O.J. was a regular attendee of the Kentucky Derby. Our archives show that he attended at least 3 derbies starting in 2004. We talked with him on the backside in 2006.
Kentuckians are so hospitable. Everybody was so terrific that I refuse to miss the Derby ever again. So I've been here the last 3 years. I like the pageantry. Plus, years ago when I came here, it was kind of old, a little staid. Now you got the hip-hop culture here. Everybody comes to the Derby.
On Derby Eve in 2007, O.J. was kicked out of Jeff Ruby's in downtown Louisville. Owner Jeff Ruby told us he asked Simpson to leave because he was sickened by the attention Simpson always still attracted. Soon afterwards, Simpson was sentenced to 9 years in prison after a conviction of stealing sports memorabilia from a Las Vegas hotel room. O.J.'s lawyer confirmed he died at his home in Las Vegas, his family saying that he was surrounded by his children and grandchildren.